Hey, my name is Sander, and recently I created this GIF and put it on Twitter saying there's no fancy shader in there or anything. It's just tweens and a non-updating viewport. And not everyone was sure what that meant and how that worked. So I wanted to make this video where I explain to you how I utilize some cool techniques that not everyone knows about to create something cool like this, something artsy. It's created in Godot 4. Now I'm gonna assume that you already kind of know the basics of Godot. I'm not gonna go into detail about how to create scripts or what certain nodes do. I'm just gonna show you how I combine different effects together to make something like this. And the cool thing is, I didn't only use it for this one GIF. This one GIF? Yes, this one. But also for multiple other ones. So this is gonna be something very cool you can reuse and experiment with, which I encourage you to do. So first off, to get started, we'll set up our scene, then we'll do some tweens, then we'll do the non-updating or non-clearing viewport I was talking about, and after that we'll do the glow, which are all the steps required to recreate the GIF. So yeah, let's get into it. I started a new project, so open up a new Godot 4 project. And what I'm gonna do is create a new 2D scene. Let's call this main for now, because why not? That's a good name. And let's already save that somewhere. There we are. So what we essentially want to do is like create pendulums, right? Because the balls are like, or the circles are moving over the screen as if they were pendulums. So what I'm gonna do is create a new node 2D, which I'm gonna call pendulum. There we go. And then I'm gonna add a sprite underneath those. I'll call those circle. There we go. And I prepared one thing for this video, and that's just a PNG of a circle, which looks like this. Just any old circle. Get yourself a PNG of a circle somewhere. You can draw it yourself. You can find it on the internet. Doesn't really matter. So you put it in there as the texture. Next, what I'm gonna do is, put it down a little bit, because what we're actually gonna do for the pendulums is just rotate the parent node. You see, the parent node is over there, the circle is over there. So if we rotate the parent node, it will kind of look like a pendulum, right? It just has to have the right momentum, or like the right movement. All right, we got that. I want these to be a little smaller, so let's do that. This looks fine. Cool. Then I'm gonna add a script to the pendulum to make it move. This script is gonna be very, very short. So just create a script. Gonna delete everything except for the ready function, which we want to keep. Oops. Then what we're gonna do is create a tween. And with this tween, what we want to do is do the pendulum motion, which, like I said, is just going from here to here forever, basically. So we can do that by just doing, by using this tween to tween the rotation. So what I'm gonna do is tween from -pi divided by 2, which is basically over here, to just pi divided by 2, which is basically over there. There we go. Then what we want to do is do this indefinitely. So we do this with set loops. There we go. Now, if I put this pendulum somewhere on the screen and try this out, oh, it's set over there. We should already have something like a pendulum. It doesn't move very naturally, and we can solve that by setting different ease and transitions. So you do set transition, and we're going to use the sine transition because this one is way more natural. And then we have to set the ease to in out. So it eases in and it eases out. And this should look way better. There we go. So that's the movement. So that's the pendulums. In my GIF, I have 3 pendulums. So let's just duplicate this one. There we go. What I also do in my GIF is modulate them differently. So you can just select each of these root nodes, these parent nodes, and change their visibility to be one of the primary colors. So for example, the first one could be red. Second one could be green. And the last one is blue. So if you have a look at these, they are the 3 primary colors. But what we want, like in my GIF, is when they overlap, they become white. That's how colors work, kinda, for some reason, somebody decided. To do this, you'll have to blend these colors together because now they're mixed and they're just put on top of each other. That's the default blend mode. To do this, you just go to each sprite, you open up the material tab, you say new canvas item material, and then instead of in the blend mode, instead of mix, you put in add. And you're going to do that for each and every one of those. You can actually just pick this one and copy it and then paste it in the other ones. And there we go. Now our circle is white, but if you pull out one of these, you'll see that they nicely do what we wanted and blend to white in the middle. And that's what we wanted. So if we run this now, you'll see that our pendulums are exactly synchronized, which is not what we want. So let's go back to our pendulum script and add an export variable to define a delay. Now I'm going to use this delay at the beginning of when we run the game. So I'm just going to use a yield and do it a little bit ugly, but that's okay. Wait, it's not a yield anymore, it's an await. Good 04. I'm going to use an await to do the delay. There we go. Then we just have to add a delay to each and every one of these. I think I used 0.1 and 0.2 for the 2 other pendulums. So let's have a look how this works. Wait, sometimes it doesn't register these values yet. There we go. This looks very nice, doesn't it? Awesome, I'm liking it already. So this is basically the movement of the circles done. So we got step 1, prepare the scene, which is this. Step 2, the motion through tweens, and very simple tweens, to be honest. So now step 3 is going to be the non-clearing viewport, which is a little bit more tricky, but just bear with me and I'll guide you through this. So what we first need is a SubViewport. SubViewport is a different viewport which has a separate camera and can display a different scene and everything. But I'm going to use it purely because you can set it to not clear all the time. First things first, you want to set this to the size of your whole screen. So let's have a quick look what my settings are. There we go. So this viewport is now 11,052 pixels wide and 648 pixels high. Next, what we want to do is add a SubViewport container, and these containers just directly show the viewport. There we go. So it doesn't show anything because our viewport is blocking everything. But what we can do is just drag and drop these pendulums into the viewport, and then we see it over there. Cool. So if we run this, this is going to do exactly the same as before. But now is when the magic happens. Now what we do is we add a script to the main. And what we want is throw everything away. We need a reference to the SubViewport. This one, just control, drag it on there. So we have the viewport. In the ready, what we want to do is set the target clear mode to clear never. So let's just get the SubViewport dot render target clear mode equals, and then you just pick the one that says never. Bada bim, bada boom. And if we run this, it should look like this. Awesome. So the viewport now does not clear, which means that instead of the normal way of things where you draw one frame and then you throw it away and you draw a new frame, it doesn't do that. What it does is like it draws one frame and it stays there and it draws the new frame on top and a new frame on top of that and a new frame on top of that. And that's what's happening here. And that's why we get this white, this solid white color here, because all the colors are just stacked and they stay there, they don't get cleared. What we actually want to do is add a color rect on top of it, which is black and very, very transparent, which clears all these pixels away. Let me show you how that looks. So you go here, back to the main, and what we're going to add is a color rect, this bad boy. You just drag it all over the thing. Very cool. And then what you do is you put it to black. What you also could do is put it to like very dark purple, which is way more natural color. And then you put it to like a transparency of 5 or something like that. An alpha value of 5, like very, very, very low, which is already pretty high, to be honest, in like GIFs like this. And then what we do is you put this in the SubViewport as well. And you can put it below or on top of everything. I like to put it below because else it obscures the other elements in the scene, like the circles. So if we run this now, it's gonna look way better. There we go. And you can see that it gets cleared very nicely. So this is the moment where I add the second tween, and that's for the alpha value of this color rect to change. So we go to the main. What I do is create a new tween, just like we did earlier. And what we are going to do now is just modulate the alpha of the color rect. And there we go. So if we run this, the alpha value will also be modulated. This doesn't look good. Let's maybe do it like this. At some point, let's start this off like over here. Let's have this one go to 1. Or oscillate between 0 and 1. Let's have a look what this does. All right, this looks way more like the original GIF I made. So now it's sometimes clears the screen very well, and sometimes it just lets it all wash out. Oh, I see what I did there. I didn't set the loops. Oops. Set loops. There we go. Okay. Now it's gonna repeat, which is way better. And it's gonna do this every 5 seconds. And then we have this nice motion combined with these stripes or these colors that stay, making it look very natural. So awesome, we passed through the first 3 steps. Now there's one last step to do, and it's just add some glow. And the glow is not very important, but it gives it a little bit more of a dynamic look. So let's throw this away or close this off. For glow, it's very simple in Godot. You add a world environment node. In this world environment node, you have environment. You say new environment. Cool. First thing we need to do is go to the background and change the mode from clear color to canvas. Right? Yeah, right. And then you go to the glow drop down. That's also here. You set to enable. You can have a look over here. So what I did is mostly turn everything off, except for glow number 5 and 6, if I'm not mistaken. There we go. Let's add some bloom. You can play with this as long as you want, right? It's very much up to your own preferences. Let's set it to add. Yeah, let's set it to add. Does this look okay? I hope so. So if we're gonna run this, it's gonna blow out. And why it's gonna blow out is pretty interesting, because what the SubViewport does is it will look at the world environment node upstream, so up 3, which means it will take this one. But the thing is, this one doesn't refresh. So when there is glow, there is a lot of white and it doesn't get cleared and it just adds on top of each other, which we don't want. But luckily there is a check if you select the SubViewport in the inspector, there should be a check own world. I think it's the own world 3D. Yeah, let's try that one. And then it should not blow out. There we go. Look at that. We recreated the GIF I made. We have the stripes, we have the glow, we have the nice pendulum motion, we have everything. And that's how you can create these artsy GIFs. You don't need like super shader skills. You just need some creativity. Because we recreated this within the span of this video. I don't know how much I'm gonna edit out. But when I was creating it, it took me an hour, and most of that hour was ideation, like looking at it, making sure that it looks like I want it to look, brainstorming things, how I could make it better. So you can make cool things with just a few basic techniques, some few rudimentary shapes like circles, and just, it's all about the idea, right? So I give you these awesome techniques that I experimented with a lot and create a lot of cool things with. I give them to you. I hope you do something awesome with them. And if you do, please let me know. Send me a message on Twitter, on Instagram, or at me, or whatever. I want to see your stuff and I want to see what you create with this. And yeah, with that, I'll leave you to it. Get creative, create something awesome, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Also, before you go, the code is down in the description, so you can see exactly how I did it and compare your solution with mine. Next to that, I would really appreciate your feedback, because this is the first time I do a video off the cuff like this, and I hope it was, yeah, it helped you out, or it helps anyone out. But yeah, maybe I can do more of these in the future. Well, this is really it. Bye-bye.